Hello, it's me, Lisa, with my spiritual friend. It's Sunday, the 23rd. Let me turn the light on a little bit brighter. I have a little bit of a headache, so all right, that'll do. I hope everybody is doing well. You're gonna have the reading glasses today, I think, because my head hurts, so that might be annoying with the light. We'll figure it out. I'll just stay down here like this. How is everybody? I've got one person who purchased a reading. Who's here? Say hello. See if I can move this a little bit just so it's not so directly. It's annoying, right? I don't know lighting. Nobody asked me to be a lighting expert. You just asked me to talk to dead people. All right, we'll do this because it'll annoy me seeing the glare in my glasses. How is everybody? Julia, hello. How are you, dear? So good news. I don't know if anybody kind of follows. I have never followed political things going on in other parts of the world, and maybe that's just the shitty American in me, but Germany, apparently, hi Regine, they were able to hold off the AFB, which is their right-wing equivalent party. They came in second, so it was another party that came in first, and I guess then they have a multi-party system, and so they form alliances, and nobody wants to ally with the AFB, so that's good news. And even with all of the money that Elon was trying to put into it, and the propaganda, and Vance and everybody going over there, which, you know, we don't usually go and support other political parties, so they apparently won't hold much weight there. So that's good. Hi, Lauren. So these are all good things. With everything being a little crazy, there are positive things to look at. Oh, you're so aware of political stuff. I would love to say that, yeah, that's fine, whatever. I just think it's so important, the stuff with right now, like having things on record about, I still haven't applied for my daughter's 504 because I'm a little concerned about just the rhetoric. I don't think any of it will actually go through with this, RFK Jr. crap about sending people to wellness camps. But I went to go do, we had to go pick up, it's called a mega drop. We had to go pick up the Girl Scout cookies to be delivered for our troop. And I was talking to the mom about it. I was like, yeah, did you hear about this wellness camps? And she was like, wait, what? And I go, what does that sound like to you? She goes, that sounds like Germany, like the Holocaust. And I was like, yep. So I'm paying attention. Yeah. So then there's also I was listening to somebody talk about Kash Patel, about how so Elon Musk sent out the emails to the FBI saying, tell me what you did in the last 5 days, and send in your resignation or some crap like that. It's scary to dive into it, so you're glad I'm doing it for you. I think I'll tell you, I don't, hang on, I haven't actually read on Kash Patel. So this is one of the things I want to do within the community. I'm hoping to launch it honestly on March 1st. That's I was like, that's a good solid, that it's a month by month. I just feel like I hate reading into all the yucky energy, but I'll do a little bit, I just feel like it also pulls the wrong kind of eyes here. But what I want to talk about, what I heard this earlier today when I saw the thing where it's he stood up and told the FBI, don't respond to this at all. And, there was comments that were kind of oh, it's a trick, something's going to happen from it. And so I just kind of put out in the universe, I was like, okay, let me find today, show me the real insight on this. Let me find the right person, the insight on this. So I was just, after I got home, I sat down, I was eating something quick before I came down here. And I came across this attorney who I've seen, I don't follow him, but he's popped up on my feed before. And he's this Hispanic man, and he's fiery. And obviously well educated, and he's been working for a while. And he's like, I'm a labor attorney. I work for labor unions. This is what I do. And he said, and Kash Patel is an attorney. And so it's not like a trick. He's like, everybody, and this was like the most sound opinion I've heard on it. And I was like, yeah, that fits. Like energetically, that fits for me with why he would do it this way. He's like, everybody has their stop. Everybody has their limit of like, nope, I'm not supporting this anymore. He's like, even in cults, everybody has their limit. And he talked about this one cult, and I don't remember what it was. I'd have to go back and watch the video to tell you, but it was some woman who were like, they thought she was going to be resurrected when she died and come back to life. And so they even took her body back to wherever they were, and like were keeping it whatever, wrapped in blankets and things like that. And then it started to like rot. And finally someone was like, yeah, no, I'm calling the cops now. So it was like, he said, everybody has their limit. And maybe that's Kash Patel's limit, is like, because he could be held, what did he call it? He said he could be held, like he could also be sued if he allowed them to respond to Elon Musk. So it's like, he's not going to put himself at risk. So there's that. My little blanket. I just don't like when it's not up here. And I don't want to show my butt to y'all. So, turn around. He is a conspiracy theorist, total conspiracy theorist. But his point was like, even when somebody has like all these crazy things, they still have a limit of where they'll say like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it's interesting to watch. I think Elon Musk doesn't have that limit, again, because I think he's a sociopath, and he does ketamine like all the time. And my feeling on him, I don't know anything about Kash Patel. So when we start doing readings, maybe towards the end, I'll read into his energy a little bit, and see. I'm not ready to jump into that yuck before I do y'all's readings. Sorry. Hi, Allie. How are you? So yeah, he's just not, I actually tried, and I don't normally do this. So I was like, look, I can do people's medical things. Let me look at Trump's, and maybe on the community thing, I'll do it there. But it was weird. Like even when I think about him, it's like everything is like melting fat. Like that's the feeling, like the energy of like, I've always had like a texture sensory thing with like fat on meat and things like that, which I get that it gives it flavor, but like my grandmother, she grew up in the Depression and grew up in and out of orphanages. She would eat anything. And she would eat like the gristly parts and so, but like every time I look at it, like I get into his energy and try to like even read medically, like what's going on. It's like wading through all this like melting, granulary, gushy sludge. That's what it feels like. So I'll do it. I'll actually, and I don't try to like fully read it on it, but I'll do it sometime for the community thing, because I feel like it's not like just out there. Listen, like who's watching this really? There's like always only a dozen people here. It's not like I'm like blowing up the scores, but I don't know. If I'm going to feel into that nastiness, I'd rather just do it and like not be doing other readings and stuff, and then go recover. Allie, let me see. Oh, I did get your email. You know what's funny is, and I meant to respond to you. I actually had like literally just before. So Allie sent me an email because on Super Bowl Sunday, I was actually searching for where I said, I'm like, let me see what I said. So remember on Super Bowl Sunday, if you were here, I was reading, and I was like, I said it right towards the end. I was like, it's weird. They keep showing me like, in the movie couldn't remember. It's a Mel Brooks movie, and it's called The End of the World, The History of the World Part 1. And it's when Mel Brooks is the king of France, and he goes around, he's like, it's good to be the king. Like that's all I could keep seeing was like, it's good to be the king, where it's like this kind of like, and you know what, like any Mel Brooks movies, they're just sort of like these goofy, weird, not to be taken seriously, schmucks, for lack of better words. And I kept seeing that. And what's funny is when I saw the picture, so Allie was like, oh my God, remember like 2 weeks before I said that. And then the Trump Time magazine thing came up, or the magazine cover came up. I don't know if it was Time magazine or if it was just and it was funny when I looked at that picture, I thought of, if any of you know Mad magazine, if you remember that kid that they would put on the cover of Mad magazine, Like, that to me was like what I kept seeing. Like, it's like nothing to be taken seriously. So, and I meant to email you back and then I got sidetracked and I've been sidetracked and I'm sorry. So yeah, they're like, it's nutty. It's so, even some of the stuff I'm like, you can't even take it seriously though, because like when this mom that I was with, she's my friend. She was like, yeah, that thing. What did she say? Oh, about wanting to take over Canada. I was like, that just reminds me of a toddler declaring, I'm going to take over this country. Like, okay. And now cookie. Like, could I get a cookie? There's no way we could do that. I've said that before. It's not going to happen. There's just no way we could do that. Also, because of the way our military is set up, like they are allowed from the bot. Like it's really kind of like the lowest guys can refuse to do something, especially if it's against the Constitution. They feel like it's against, and there's, first of all, think about how hard of a time Russia is having securing the tiny country of Ukraine. There, it just wouldn't. You couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it. So it's, oh, got to do all these updates on my computer and my phone, and sort of protesting those right now. So, all right. Who wants personal questions? I've got. Oh, okay. Oh, she found me. Okay, sorry. She paid me for cookies. Okay, so I've got Julia and Misty for questions, and Allie. Oh, and Nicole. Hi. Okay, so here, let's do this. And Julie. Okay, so I've got. Hang on just a second. Okay. All right, so I've got Misty, Nicole, Allie, and Julia. Who else is here? Say hello. I went to an ice skating party with my littlest yesterday, and I wasn't even thinking about the times because I know they're public skate times by heart, but like we went at a different time, and I was thinking it was public skate. They rented the whole rink for them, and it was like they had because she said like, oh, we got a sled for the little ones. I'm like, how are they letting you pull the sled? And they had walkers, and then my daughter is going around practicing her spirals, which just looks like an arabesque if you do ballet. With the walker. This morning, she's like, I'm sore here. I go, that's because you were leaning so hard on the walker. And I told her not to do that. She got mad at me. I was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea because if it slips, you're just falling flat on your face. Stupid. Okay. Hang on. Misty, Nicole, Allie, Julia. All right. There we go. All right, Misty, I think are you here, Misty? I just want to make sure before I do your question, because I know you typed yours. And then if not, we'll go with somebody else. That way you hear yours. Okay, I'll do Nicole's because I haven't heard from Misty yet. I want to make sure she's here when she gets her question read. As y'all are so used to me like yammering for so long or being late. Sorry. Okay. Let me put on my dirty glasses. Okay. Will I ever get closure from my mom and her side of the family? It's been radio silent. Wait, you haven't been talking to your mom? is digging around downstairs. Well, pardon my French, but what a twat she is. We'll go through this. Oh, interesting. Okay, sorry. I was like, I just hit me where I was like, oh, that's why. So they said, she just really, she got her nose out of joint because it wasn't about her. Because you've been focusing on somebody else other than her. And I hate throwing around the classic narcissist term, but like, it's, she wants everything to be about her in some way or another. And your father took away the attention from her. I don't feel like you're going to get closure from her family, to be honest with you. And they said she'll come back around when she needs something, but it's going to be, and I know this is going to seem terrible, but it's a couple of years. But it's like going to be out of needing something. And I feel like by then you're not going to want to reciprocate. You're not going to feel that need to reciprocate. You're going to be doing a mass amount of healing work especially over the next 6 months and the next 18 months. It's like comes in blocks of 6 months at a time. Sorry, a little cold. I feel like somehow your sister is like caught in between. You have 2 sisters, right? It feels like are you the middle sister? You're not the middle sister. I mean, it feels like the middle sister is the one that feels like she's kind of going back and forth. And it's interesting when I feel like into her family, it's like she isn't telling them the truth. Like she's giving her skewed perspective. And to make it seem like she's the victim, you're the youngest. The middle is close to me, but lost contact with them way sooner. Okay. There's some where I feel like there's like there's one like kind of, I don't know, maybe that's what it is. She's closer to you. I don't know. But I feel like it's not that they necessarily believe everything she's saying, but it's almost more of like a a self-preservation thing to just go along with what she says. It's interesting. I almost feel like she's got them like thinking like it's not as bad as they're pretending it is. Like he needs all this help. Like he could do this stuff for himself. Like he doesn't need any help. It's not that bad. He's such a baby, that kind of stuff. Like I feel like if I was in that thing, nobody would do that for me, blah, blah, blah. Like nobody, she's the victim. The victim. You've heard her say it before. Meanwhile, she goes to the hospital for a headache. So I mean, this sounds like, and this is not meant to be patronizing, like it will be okay. I was thinking about this the other day. Like it's come up several times for me in the last few weeks because I'm very open about being estranged from a good portion of my family, both sides. Because like I come from a very dysfunctional family, and not just dysfunction, like very highly abusive and lots of dysfunction. And there's opposite types of dysfunction. And I just was thinking about how like, oh, I'm not looking now because it's so distracting, the glare, but my head hurts so much that I have to wear these to read the comments. So bear with me. I might be a little bit like this today. But so I was thinking about like how I'm at peace though. Like I don't like go, oh, I wish like the peace is so much more for me and so much better for me that I don't miss the connections. Like there was points where I was like, like certain people wish I still had contact with, or maybe one day we could. And now I'm like, nah, like I have so much more peace now without that. Like I don't live in a constant, I mean, I'm kind of been in a constant state of flight or flight because of, all of this stuff and like just other things. But like, I want to protect my peace. I am 46 years old. I will always protect my peace over that. And I will always protect my children's peace over everything else. So I moved past the hope that like maybe they'll get it one day and they'll, take ownership, because they won't. And if I need to be the villain in their story, so be it. You have guilt in case something happens to her. But okay, I want to also like say this, like when people are like, I saw this thread, and I think I've said this before, where it was like some woman had said they would save their husband before their kids or something like that. And I was like, my husband is a grown ass man. He can take care of himself. My children can't. And so they will come first. And when we have this mindset and we're in codependent relationships, we think it's our responsibility to make sure that other person is, well, what if they need me? What if they need help? What if they're like, they are a whole grown human being? They can take care of themselves. And if they need help, here's the other part. You don't have to divine that information. They can always ask for it. And then at that point, you can decide if you give it or not. And it doesn't make you a bad person if you choose, like, you've been so toxic and so awful to me or so abusive to me. You have to find another person. I am not it. And that can be done without feeling like you're a bad person. Keeping yourself safe does not make you a bad person. Walking away from people that are abusive and manipulative, coercive, doesn't make you the bad person. There are people who don't want to take responsibility for their own behavior, and they will always try to make their happiness or their whatever is somebody else's fault. Happiness comes from within. You got to build that within. So you don't have to feel guilty about not wanting to, not being there. People like her and many of my family members put themselves in the position to not have support because of the way they treat other people. If you want support when you need it, you have to treat people kind. Right? And yours is out of reaction, not out of like you're presenting that first, like, well, I'm not going to help them just because I don't feel like it's too much. It's too much work. Okie dokie, dear. I'm sorry your mom sucks. It's no fun. And the healing comes with time too. And just when you work on your own, this is why I talk about self-concept work is huge, because you end up being like, instead of constantly being empathetic and graceful with everybody else, it's important to do that. You start doing it for yourself, and you start being kind to yourself, and you start really thinking about like, why do I feel like I have to tolerate that? Where does that belief system come from, that I feel like it's my job to take care of somebody else no matter how poorly they treat me? Why do I feel that? Where did that come from? Like, you just start, instead of like beating yourself up, like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm broken because I always think that way. Like, it's like, where does that come from? Because it comes from somewhere. I mean, it'd just be like if you learn like if you learn poor, technique for any sport or for playing an instrument, and you're like, why do I always screw this up? Well, because somebody taught you the bad technique at the beginning. So now you've got to go back and reprogram it. That doesn't make you a bad person or a broken person. It's just like you got taught the wrong thing, and you can see the logic of that, right? It's the same thing with our thought patterns and our belief systems. So that stuff comes with time. And it's just like, instead of thinking about healing, because I feel like I say it too, like whatever, but I often think if I just put it in terms of like, it's just something that needs to be practiced. So you'll practice it. You'll practice being kind to yourself. You'll practice like treating yourself differently. And then you feel more empowered as you start to do that. You feel more empowered to be like, yes, no, like, oh, that's a bunch of garbage. I'm not tolerating that anymore. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It just means like you've just decided to stop like falling into the people that are like, oh, this is because of this, the light, like, oh, it's so terrible. It's like, okay. Instead of like realizing they should take ownership of like how they're equally responsible for a situation, right? They just, oh, this is like, oh, I'm not feeling bad for people anymore. I don't know. I mean, I do feel bad for people. That's you understand that. Hi, Independent 87. All right. Misty, are you here yet? My circle of friends is small also because I just don't have the bandwidth for a lot of people. I just can't keep everybody's like, I want to be a good supportive friend. I don't have the energy when I have kids. Like when probably maybe when my kids are bigger, I'll have the energy for more people. But I just don't have it. Hi, Katrina, go. I got it right this time. I don't even know if it's just I just don't have that much energy. It's like I don't have that. I want to be a good friend and like keep up with people and like I mean it's not like I don't have friends, but like I have friends that are kind of spread out and stuff like that. And I have plenty of time for all of that. But like I'm not really I'm so introverted. I'm not great about like I'm trying to make plans with my friend that's closest here where we're like we've been trying to hang out on Fridays for coffee or something. Just also because I never do anything but ice skate, like which I love ice skating. Don't get me wrong, but trying to be like I was telling my friend when we were going to go get, and she's a mom of the troop or whatever, we were going to pick up the cookies, and I was like telling her how I haven't gone to Target in like a month. Like basically, like I've been really mindful about not spending when I don't, not because we don't have the money, but because I'm like, no, we vote with our dollar. This is like important where we spend our money and being conscientious. Does it mean I'll never go to Target again? No, because sometimes like I have to, like I am like, it's just like there's nowhere else to get it or I'm in a pinch or whatever. Same thing with like I have bought stuff from Amazon, but I'm just being very conscientious about stuff and trying to go other places. And I was like, I mean, I don't need to buy clothes and things like that. I don't have, it's not like I'm wearing a whole lot of different stuff. Plus I was like, where am I going? So lame, whatever. I know people say like, you should dress up and feel good, but I'm like, I just logically, it just doesn't seem practical for me to like dress up to go like to the bus stop. Sorry. So, you know what? I think it's good to focus on yourself. And I think that truthfully, especially with women, it was demonized that you're selfish. You should be giving to everybody else as a way to control. It's belief systems. Like selfish is not a bad word. So we're just buying necessities right now. And it doesn't mean, again, we have kid birthday parties and we're not, it's just like, I'm just, again, thinking about where I'm spending money, how I'm spending money. Do I really need that? Probably not. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. So let's see. We've got Misty, if you're here, Allie, and Julia. Why do I always feel sore, especially on my shoulders and upper back? Got my doctor to lower my thyroid medication now because I always feel tired and sometimes sick. There's two things. I don't know if it's like there's a deficiency, so it might be like a magnesium issue, but I also feel like okay. There's like several. There's more than two things. Okay. You're gonna be like, Anna, are you taking your vitamin D? Except it feels okay. I feel slightly for insulin resistance. So eating for insulin resistance. So make sure you're eating lots of fiber and protein. Don't worry about counting like the carbs and all of that stuff and like blah, blah, blah. Just like lots of fiber and protein. Lentils are really high in fiber. If you eat lentils, eat them with some rice. It can be white rice. It doesn't matter. It's not evil. And because of all of the fiber in lentils, you don't have to worry about getting a big glucose spike because it's not going to happen. There's lots of protein, and the white rice with the lentils creates a complete protein. Okay. So I feel like it's those two things, but I also feel like lay off of gluten for a little while. It's reminiscent of when I eat gluten, I get two things happen for me if I eat too much gluten. I can have a tiny bit and I'm okay. But if I eat too much, I get like neck, shoulder tightness. It's very weird. And it's usually only just like one side. And I also get my sensory stuff goes like wild, like where I like I cannot. It's just like everything where I'm like, especially sound. So I had until I stopped eating gluten and started eating for insulin resistance, I had this neck and shoulder pain here constantly every day. That's what I'm feeling for you. And I know I can see you being like, I don't want to eat gluten. Everybody's so demonizing gluten. But there is something to be said for, because I already know that you're ADHD, right? There's such a high correlation between Hydrella. A nurse told me the vitamin D3K2 I'm taking will make my blood thin. I don't think so. Let me see if D3K2, maybe that K2 shouldn't cause, hang on, thinning. Hi, Katrina, I got your payment. Okay. No, she's wrong. That's what I thought. I was like, vitamin K2 would cause clotting, not thinning. And you're probably not taking enough to cause an issue. You'd have to take high amounts to cause a clotting issue. I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all because usually when people have liver problems, you have to make sure that they don't have, and usually that's because their body's not holding enough K2. You're fine. And this says also, here's a debunking thing, vitamin K2 and blood coagulation. It does not influence blood thickness or thinness. Instead, it involves with the complex cascade of blood coagulation. It's a clotting factor. It's not. It won't thin it. You're fine. Promise. Sometimes we nurses can get shit wrong. I'm not a nurse anymore, but you know what I mean. You're fine. Also, the other thing you do is just because somebody says something, me included, just because I say something, look it up. So all I put in is vitamin K and blood clot. I put D3K2 and blood clot. I put blood thin. Literally, that's all I did. And you'll get information. And then you want to look at several sources. And you're whatever you're taking is probably not nearly enough to cause a huge cascade of that event. Unless for some reason you have a liver issue. And then I would say if there was some reason, but you'd have to have like to thin it, it wouldn't thin it. First of all, it's not going to thin it. But to like cause clotting, I would say you probably have to have other issues going on. So look it up, research it yourself, ask your doctor, not to be an a-hole, but like, again, people get stuff wrong. And I'm willing to say like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, maybe because I'm on K2 too. But I was like, I thought that it would cause clotting. Whoa, shit. Sorry. Didn't mean to send y'all on a little roller coaster ride. Okay. I just feel like, so you're on your D3K2. I think that's coming up. I would do the insulin resistance, and it's not going to hurt you to eat for insulin resistance. Promise that. And it's not going to hurt you to not eat gluten for a few days to see if some of that goes away. But I was going to say is there's a lot of comorbidities between ADHD, having like hypermobility and things, which can cause a lot of the tightness, having deficiencies, your body not processing things correctly, autoimmune stuff. But this all feels kind of like when this all went away was when I started eating for insulin resistance and what was I going to say? The no gluten thing. Oh, maybe she did want you to buy the doctor's vitamins. Maybe she makes money off of that. That's weird. And then I would take that as a note then that maybe it's either find a new doctor or just ignore stuff that she says. So I would say for the ADHD, create a habit if you can, where you write it down in your phone, or you have like a tracker. But I just, instead of like writing stuff down, I mean, I know I eat other stuff. I just always try to make sure I don't like feel bad if like eat sugar and stuff like that. I just try to make sure that I, lots of fiber with every meal. And you don't like, I've also found this is really interesting. I've started making like cabbage and cruciferous vegetable kind of soups. So like broccoli and cabbage and daikon radish and leeks, but they're not in that thing. But and what else did I put in there? Bok choy, whatever, lots of green stuff. And I just make a big vegetable soup and I eat a lot of that. And it helps me. Also, I've noticed like it helps hormonally. Like my cycles, the last 2 cycles have been like much nicer. Not all the PMDD and stuff like that. I feel like I know this is gonna sound weird. Do what I'm talking about with the food and the diet and stuff. This will go away, and you're not gonna have the pain and the exhaustion all the time. I really think so. I believe that we will show symptoms long before of like having insulin resistance or pre-diabetes, long before our labs will ever show it. So your labs may look great and fine, but it is my belief that our bodies will have symptoms long before we'll actually show the lab changes. Yeah, no, I love that. I just like soups because I like soups. So I just make it as a soup because it's like it's easy and I like them. But I like roasting them as well. I don't love Brussels sprouts as much. They're okay. I don't know why, because I like all the other stuff, but I'm just weird. But I love soups. I always have. I'm kind of that like, and like I make them. They cook quicker, and I have an Instant Pot, but then they have a different texture, so I prefer them on the stove. But sometimes I don't know. It's like just all these like what I feel like, what kind of how much energy I have. And then my one daughter, she's so sensitive. Like I think she has ARFID, and she'll come out and be like, she can smell lettuce through the house. She's like, I'm like, it's for the bunny. Like, but anytime I make the soup, she's like, can you put your disgusting soup away? Hi, Misty. Oh, you're finally here. I was waiting for you to answer your question. I love lentil soup. Yes, yes, yes. I love all of that. Your mom has diabetes and my doctor wants me to lose. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. Please, just even with just the next week, take wheat and things out of your diet. Stop eating anything with God, my head. Sorry, it's like not letting me think today. I'm like, not glutamine. It's not gluten. That's what I'm thinking of. So no gluten for a week. Even though it takes a little bit longer to really clear it out of your body, I think you'll notice it. And then look at, so there's, if you're looking for like a cereal because you want just like something munchy, there's a brand called, it might be Carbonate. No, Carbonate is the bread I use. Catalina's Crunch, I think, is the cereal stuff. It's high in fiber. It's got protein in it. There's several different flavors. Get that. You can snack on that. It's like a small amount, has like 14 grams of fiber in it. And then of course, like apples and raspberries are high in fiber. I would watch kind of some of your, like, look at, hi Lana, look at histamine stuff, because people who tend to be also neurodivergent have histamine issues. And then COVID can also like create histamine issues. So raspberries and strawberries are high in histamine. I'm kind of been avoiding them for that reason. Bananas are high in histamine, but apples are great. Citrus is hit or miss for me because citrus is high in histamine. But carrots are fabulous too. Just like snack on all that kind of stuff. Once you start feeling full from all the like fiber, kiwis are okay to eat. They're not high in histamine, or they're okay for me. I don't know. But stay away from spinach. Spinach is high in histamine. There's that. I don't know. Just start exploring, but start with the focusing on fiber, protein-rich foods. Fiber first, then protein, and no gluten. Just see how you feel for a week. And drink lots of water. Like, I don't know how big you are, but half your weight in ounces in water is a pretty good rule of thumb. You're welcome. Okay. Let's see. Misty, what's your question again? You had a question. You typed it. I can look at it. I was just waiting for you to show up. And then Julia. And Katrina, I think. So I ordered these oracle cards. They're like prediction oracle cards because I was like, maybe that'll help it like me feel more comfortable when I'm like reading for Trump and stuff where I don't like whatever. And I was like, well, it'll be fun. Like I don't mind. It's, you know, and they were kind of expensive because plus it was like $25 shipping. For a set of cards, I was like, I'm spending a lot of money on them. And I got them and they're really cute. They're thinner, which I actually don't mind because they're really easy to shuffle. I left them upstairs. I should show you, but like they're kind of dark. Like they're all kind of dark predictions. So I'm like, all right, I've got to figure out how to read with these where it's not like all this like famine and military, like warfare, traitors. But it's good to have, I guess, all different kinds of cards instead of just all like super lovey-dovey positive ones. And then I thought, I was like, oh, it might be fun. Like, y'all know I'm always thinking of ideas like, oh, I could do that. And then I really have to have the motivation to end up doing something. But I was like, oh, I could create some oracle cards if I actually start using them, which I'm going to with the community. So, okay, what do I need to do to pray for my mom? Pray your mom's property for sale. Okay. This is weird, but I just have to say it. And I think it's maybe more something you might find as you're cleaning up rather than like this is something that's really important, but it might be like a validation thing as it comes down the line. But I keep feeling like this like toy monkey. And I'm vacillating between it being like a rubbery little thing, like small, or something like mechanical on some level. I don't know, but I just, because I'm getting like different versions of it. There's something with a monkey, and I don't think you actually have a monkey on the property. I think it might be like a toy or something that you find, or I keep getting shown some peeled paint, and it feels like peeling near the baseboards rather than up high, or peeling. It's either peeling paint or peeling wallpaper, but I'm leaning towards it being paint. Is there a room that would have like, so I'm going to tell you what I'm looking at, and then this is why I'm asking it. So I'm seeing what looks like maybe laminate flooring or old linoleum that's kind of coming up. And then this peeling paint. And I feel like there might be some water damage or something where you're having to replace a little bit of drywall, like do a drywall patch or something. They keep showing me this like one area where it feels like this part needs more work, and it feels like more like, it's not like you need to redo the whole house, but it's like this one really should be attended to, because it'd be an easy fix to make it where you're not bringing down the property value enough. Like, because I feel like they would take that on, but I feel like it would reduce your chances of having a better offer. Oh, Dorella, hang on. The property can't be salvaged. Hi, Tropical Empress. Hang on. Let me, sorry, I forgot to pin the payment thing. Give me a second. I'll do that for you. So when you say the property can't be, so it is older property that I'm being shown, like that there might be water damage, mold damage. Oh, it's a tear down. Okay. Okay. Cause I'm like, why do I keep seeing like, okay. Cause it looks old. Like, okay. Perfect. I mean, here's the thing, like I don't know that this is psychic, but if you're going to do a tear down, technically you can just have them, you could just, when they demo it, they can demo it with all the contents in it. And you don't even deal with it. I am being told to save some dishes. Is there yellow? Is like the kitchen yellow? I keep seeing like yellow cabinets. Not bright yellow. And it's like a 1950s maybe. So they're showing me a house that I lived in Houston with my dad and stepmom that we rented. And it was like 1950s. They ended up tearing it down and had bright yellow. They're yellow. Okay. Oh, thank you, Julia. Yeah. So that's what I'm being shown. Okay. So I was shown dishes that feel like the ones I'm being shown remind me of the ones my grandma had, which were, they had that rose pattern. Fitz and Floyd or something like that. No, it's not Fitz and Floyd. I'm going to find it. Dang it. Royal Albert. 1950s. Okay, great. I'm like, this is why they're showing me this. Really more so it's just validation for me. So it's this feeling of, I feel like honestly, you'll go through and take a few things out and leave them. I don't think there's anything that you really have to prepare for it other than knowing that, I mean, you could do the demo and just sell the property only. As a realtor, I would take, oh, Dorella, there you go. Would take the contents out and sell the house as is. You will attract a lot of contractors. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I just feel like take what you want out of it if they're going to be tearing it down. But I'm being shown these dishes. There's china in there. The place is rat infested and there's no power. I feel I need to go through the house. I don't think you're being OCD. That's the feeling I get, is you're not being OCD. There's so she's showing me the china, and then she's showing me there's I feel like this would be in the TV room. It's either like a bookshelf or a cabinet of some sort. There's a photo album, and it feels like it's older, so I don't feel like it's from you. I feel like it's from her family. There's a photo album, and there might be like a paper bag of either photo negatives or something, but it's like, feels like, and you think, like you're saying, there's rats and stuff there. For whatever reason, I feel like there might be some damage just from age and not being stored properly, but it feels like that's important. And more so, she feels like it's really for you, for history, right? She also have like big dogs, either, I don't know, like shepherds or something, where they just like, there's like kind of a dog smell I'm smelling. Also, she's saying not to feel guilty about it, not to feel bad if you leave stuff behind. You could, like, if Dorella, since she's a realtor, it's always good to take somebody's advice who actually knows what's going on, because I am just the psychic, right? Sorry, let me just, I don't want to silence it because I don't know why. I just feel like I'm not supposed to today. Always had dogs and smells terrible. Okay, because I'm like, I can't, that's like, I'm hearing she. So even if mom is still around, it's like, it's what I'm feeling is so. It's just this feeling of like not feeling guilty. I'm like being walked through. It's like, this is what you need to keep. This is what you need to keep. You could hire one of those like junk people where they bring the things and they just go through and start junking everything for you. But they would have to wear, like, I feel like they'd have to wear like the hazmat-y stuff. She have parquet floor? Because I keep feeling like also in this room that I'm in, there's like either like parquet, because it's the sound of when you walk around on parquet, but I also feel like there's water damage there too, or old pee stains, because it's like just a darkened spot in the corner. Did she collect spoons? She just goes, the spoons. She said, I have so much stuff, I forget what I have. I don't feel like those spoons are worth anything, by the way. Wood floors with damage, yeah. Like the way I see it is like it's where it's really dark and it has that like splintery kind of effect to it. But when I'm walking, I feel like I'm walking on parquet floors, and they have a different sound than the slatted wood floors. The things that I notice. I say that because my grandmother always loved parquet floors, and they just have a different sound to them than regular wood floors. She was a bit of a herder. I know. That's why I think she said I forgot I had all these things. She had I feel like a smoker. I feel like also had stomach issues. and a tooth issue here. They do make noise, yeah. It's a slatted subfloor somewhere but the kitchen. Everywhere but the kitchen. Okay. You weren't looking for a mediumship, but she's just popping in this way, so it's gonna happen. She's really like she's crying and she's sorry she did all of this to you. The way she's making me feel, she's not saying this, but it's a feeling of like I put a lot of weight on you to be responsible for my emotions and well-being. So I shouldn't have done that to you. She had a lot of teeth issues. She was very ill for a long time, but wouldn't let us help. So maybe the emotional burden is like carrying that weight. But I keep feeling like even as a child though, you were carrying an emotional burden for her. Does she have teeth issues? That keeps coming up for me. Absolutely, yes. Um, I also it's also a feeling of I feel like she was very isolated. She isolated herself a lot. Um, it was out of self-preservation. Um, I feel like she had very unhealthy relationships. I don't know if this is your dad or not, but I feel like she was in a very abusive relationship at a point. Um, and I keep feeling did not have a very good relationship with her own mother. And so it all kind of fell the way it fell. And I do feel like even though like you had to carry this burden for her, I still feel like she tried to be better for you. I keep seeing this monkey. You know the little monkeys that do the like with the little symbols. So if anybody's like, I'm just reading, she said yes, 100%. She had bad teeth. Absolutely yes. I'm assuming around the behavior. Yes, 100% for the other stuff. She's showing me a dog. I think she might have had. Oh, I'm sorry to laugh. I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing because I'm like, I'm apparently the neurodivergent reader. It's like I think she had ADHD or something. Because I was in the middle of like connecting with her, I got really distracted. She showed me a dog and she showed me some other stuff, and then I'm listening to a song play, and I don't have no music here, by the way. It just got pulled to like different things. Um, and I feel like she had a bit of a like she could have a temper. Like I feel like she would get dysregulated. She didn't know what any of that was. Your dad was very bad. He completely different reading some. Okay. Grandmother was very hard to please. Yeah. She tried and probably overcame more than I ever knew. Yeah. So I feel like she would get really dysregulated and distracted. Oh, you have ADHD as well. Okay. um, I don't know that she knew she had it. I don't know that she formally knew she had it. I feel it's just this feeling of like I wasn't forgetting on purpose, and maybe that's what you thought was happening when you were a teenager, that she was forgetting things or being distracted on purpose just because she didn't care about you, and it's not that at all. And I feel like she just needed you to know all of that. And I do feel like I have a nice, clear connection with her. I feel like I could talk to her for a while, but I am going to move on because it's been a little bit, if that's okay. I also get this feeling she just said thank you and she gave me a kiss here, and it's a feeling of like she you said this, but it's also like not wanting to ask for a lot of help. But I also just feel like she didn't have a lot of people to be that were just kind for her for no reason. I mean, granted, yes, I'm getting paid for this, so like, but I mean, I didn't have to go into this part of it, right? That's not the question you asked. So, not that I'm like, "Oh, I'm so kind, look at me." Like, that's not even it. It's just like it literally she was so used to bare minimum that like literally anything was such a gift to her. She was dysregulated often. Yeah. Yeah. That's the feeling I got. And I think she didn't realize it. She knows you love her. And I think she's just as appreciative of the moment. I She made me feel like appreciative that you took the chance to do something like this because I don't think she would have. So I hope whatever this is, it helps you in some of your healing to know that, she knew about it. She didn't, it's like she didn't know about all the stuff, didn't know how hormones affected it, all of that. Hi, Miss Regine, I got your payment. And Amanda, I got your payment. Oop, that's not what I wanted. Shh. I opened up the wrong thing. Oh, Fern. Got Fern too. Okay, hold on. It's opened up weird. Okay, so we did Nicole, Alia, Ali, Misty, Julia. Oh, Julia, I didn't do your reading yet. Okay. You're very, very welcome. So I have Julia, Katrina. Allie, did I do yours? Sorry. Did I? I think I did. Yes, I did. Sorry. Mediumship with Auntie Pauline and a message that she has for you. Sure. Okay. So Julia, Katrina. Fern. Is Fern your daughter? And Regine. Itchy nose. Oh, your niece. Okay. All right. So your Auntie Pauline. Okay. Does Pauline did she have a really bad tooth issue in the back? This is my upper right. And also just a very thick accent. Like, I don't know if she spoke Gaelic or I don't know like what that, but like I can understand her, but like the way, like, I don't know how to explain the way this sounds, like where telepathically I can understand, but I can hear her voice and be like, I would not, if I had to talk to you, without using this ability, I would not be able to communicate with you at all. I also feel like something with her tongue. She's very funny. Like she's joking around a lot. I'll understand all of her jokes. Sorry. But she talks really fast. I can't fully understand her. I'm sorry. Like but I think it's more about talking, like the way it's coming across this way is more about her personality than it is about like so important about what she's saying. She's very silly and animated, and this tooth thing. Northern England, yes, Newcastle upon Tyne accent. I wouldn't even know what Newcastle upon Tyne is, but I just assume you'll know what this means to have a very heavy accent to where it's like hard to understand. Um, did she have really short hair? Because I'm being shown a woman who is like she's a thinner build, shorter hair, and glasses. Um, and like salty, peppery hair, not gray or not white or anything like that. And a curl to it. Pixie cut. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like short. Okay. She used to curl it. Okay. I saw tight little curls. Okay. I mean, she's such a funny personality because she's like just constantly moving. She's just bouncing around, like back and forth, like dancing. I don't, apparently she's likes to dance and be silly. That's the feeling I get. But I go, do you have a, she's kind of sarcastic because I was like, do you have a message for Julia? Like, does she need to know anything? She's like, I can't tell her anything she doesn't already know. Um, she says to trust your dreams more. Um, that you're getting a lot more information than you're giving credit for through your dreams. Um, I have a feeling she was very superstitious in life, and because she just is like, yeah, superstitions aren't that like they don't need anything. But I feel like because she showed me something about a tiny pig, and she's saying all these funny sayings like sniggly or something like that. I'm like, what is? I'm trying to keep up with this energy, but she's just saying like you don't have to abide by superstitions. They're just so I don't know if she's really superstitious. Your family's really superstitious. It's been a long time. Um, I honestly, she goes. I said, did you leave a tulip? She's like, no, not me. Um, she said I leave her something better, like something more useful. So I have a feeling she's very practical because she's like a diamond or money. She said she goes. She doesn't need me to leave her things. She's doing fine on her own. Um, she said if you need to connect with me, all you have to do is talk. She said you can hear me. You've always been able to hear me. So I sense that it's more about you ignoring it or discounting it because you think, well, it couldn't be that easy. And she's like, it is that easy. Uh, do you know if she went to a tarot lady? Because she's showing me something with tarot cards. Or maybe she would do like a little psychic party that she would like to go to, like one of her friends would have one annually or something. There's something where I feel like she was pretty open to a lot of this. She's so money oriented. Oh, okay. Wait, what did you think? Regarding hearing her. Yeah. So you could hear her. I mean, this woman is so full of energy. I feel like she never stopped. And not like, I just feel like she was very active. Like maybe played tennis, or I mean just cricket, or I don't know. She's just very active. No, tennis. She's like, I would not play cricket. She gave me a look like she's really like, was like, oh. She scoffed at me. Yes, I'm telling you, she's like bouncing around. Like, she was your godmother. Okay. Have you ever, there's this woman on TikTok, she's a British woman, and she talks about cleaning things, like getting stains and stuff out of things. And she, I don't know why, just her, maybe it's the cadence and the rhythm of her voice, but that's what I'm hearing. Like at first, like I could just heard a really heavy accent, but like it might even be just the pitch. I don't know if you come across it, if you're still on TikTok. Look for the British cleaning lady. I don't know what her handle is, but she talks about getting stains out, and it's like her voice. That's what I keep hearing in my head. She's like, this is easy. This is fun. Do you know if she did tarot? Yeah, I've never heard your voice. Oh, she was an OCD cleaner. Maybe that's why she's showing me this woman to get me to mention the cleaning lady who gets the stains out. Because maybe it doesn't sound like that, but maybe it's just to get me to mention that. I think that's funny. She'd leave you something better like money or a diamond. I feel like she was also always telling people to be smarter, because she said, be smarter with your money. Like, I feel like she's saying that, but she's like, makes me feel like even, she's saying it now, but she feels like she says it to everybody. Be smarter with your money. Dear head, stop aching. No to tarot. There's something around tarot. She showed me, or did she play cards? There's something with cards. So it might make sense down the road then, because she's showing me something with cards. It was a feeling of tarot cards. It could even be something that comes up that somebody else mentions that connects to it. All right, I'm going to move on only because I want to make sure I have enough for everybody today, since my head is like not happy and I'm having to wear these glasses because it's hard to focus. Hi, Larry. Hi, Gabby. I've got you guys on my list. Maybe she could help you with tarot. Probably. You could ask for people to work with you. I know when I first started doing readings, especially in circles, because I was like, oh, and I would first sit and do, so I'm a certified seance conductor, like message circle person. And when I would first sit in them, I would get so much information all at once. I couldn't, like, about everybody all at once. I was like, oh my God, it was just not organized enough. And so I would ask my grandmother to help me. Like, she came in and she's like, I'll take care of this. And so she helped me basically line everybody up to where then it would just be like one at a time. But excuse my yawn. So you could ask them to help you work through stuff. Okay, Katrina, you are up. Thank you for trusting me. Let me add Gabby and Gabrielle and Larry on here. Oh, I totally understand. Like, even though like people would think, oh, I don't speak to my family members a lot. I mean, in life, but the dead ones either. You would think like, oh, they're around all the time, but they're really not. I don't know if it's just because I've kind of like, but my one grandma, I tend to miss a lot because I think she was so important to my growing up when I was little. My parents divorced when I was 6, and so we would go every summer and stay with her for a month every summer, and just I have so many core memories from being with her. So, like good memories, even though everything was kind of crappy, I still have really good memories at her house. And I don't have a lot of memories from my childhood. Disassociation, trauma. So, yay. All right. Katrina, what's your question? Oh, there you are. Sorry. Go, Katrina, go. Been waiting a while to do renovations for our home. It's an historic home. Kitchens, flooring, etc. When is the best time to do it? I heard spring, and I kind of feel like get the ball rolling now. Like I feel like start looking for fixtures now and start doing the estimating, like figuring out who you want to have, like interviewing people. But it feels like it's a now thing. So I feel like work will start in the spring, but it's like really starting now. And spring's not that far. But really starting now to like look for certain things, because you're going to have some things are going to have a little bit longer lead time that you're going to need for them to come, like to ship. But it feels like to save yourself money. I feel like if you wait longer, you're going to be kicking yourself for it. It's funny, even though you say you're doing renovations on an old house, I feel like you're trying to keep some of the stuff close to original. I keep seeing doorknobs. I don't. You say you're going to have to move out. Some of it you're going to be able to be in house for. And I don't know if it's the final touches or the initial ones. I wish I could say, but I feel like I don't have to, like, I'm not going to have to rush to move right away, but I need to rush to get on this move, get the projects moving. In the kitchen, I feel like underneath the flooring, when they rip stuff up, you're going to find some water damage. So keep a little bit extra of like whatever they tell you. I feel like you're going to need a little bit extra for the kitchen, especially just for the flooring. Like the subflooring needs to be redone, or some of the plumbing needs to be fixed underneath. That's underneath the flooring. So it feels like it's going to be it's going to be a cost change kind of thing, an added expense. And so just keep that in mind when you're doing everything. And I keep feeling like it's like 2,000 to 3,000 more. They're talking about termite damage. Do you have termites? Or maybe carpenter ants? Is there a part of the house or a building that's like on the property that's like, or is your garage disconnected? Oh, you had carpenter bees. Okay, that's fine. That'll fit where I'm at. And I think that's just more of a validation. That I'll take that as being it. Okay. I just maybe they'll just find the remnants of some of that in there. Is there a storage shed or something? I just feel like there's something separate of the house they're showing me, and I don't know why, but the carpenter bees, I feel like, or whatever, that was like in a corner. But I just feel like they'll find the remnants of something with that. You had a you have a basement and a little storage shed, but tiny. It's okay. They're showing me the short storage shed. There's some kind of infestation in your short storage shed. Um, I'm just telling you because they're showing me. I don't think it's nothing will hinge on this storage shed, but they're just showing it to me, and I feel like it's a little infestation there. I don't see anything. I know you're just looking for timing, but I feel like I don't see anything where I'm like, oh my God, there's this big, like whatever. I just they were just showing me the kitchen, like there's some water damage. It feels like I'm in like an old tiny kitchen and maybe you're gonna blow it out and make it bigger, but it's like it's a little bit below the subfloor that you're gonna find this issue, like old water damage or old pipe that needs to be replaced because it's a bit corroded. I don't know. There's something about it where I'm looking, they're showing me like as if I'm just standing on the joists and I'm looking at the guts of it, basically. I don't know any other way to say it. And I feel like I'm in an old, small kitchen. I don't feel like I'm in a really big kitchen. And it looks like old stuff. It's not a fresh one, like, oh my God, they hit a pipe and it burst. And so, um, and it just makes me feel like it's not a crazy amount. Like, it's going to be like maybe an additional $2,000 to $3,000. So either don't go all the way to the top of your budget with whoever you're picking or and everything you're doing and but just have that aside. There might be some water damage by our door in the kitchen. Yeah. I To me this feels like it's coming from a pipe. It's not coming from a bad seal on the edge of a door or anything like that. Are you pushing walls out to make it more open or larger? I'm seeing what looks like and maybe you don't have it anymore, but would have been like a like built-in cabinets and stuff like that doesn't sound right. Like the old like with the glass doors and maybe sort of like what do you call it? Butler's pantry kind of stuff, like where it's and I feel like a swinging door into the dining area. They're telling me this to remind you as you're looking at I'd like to so that we can also add a full bathroom by the kitchen. Okay, I'm going to say this. Oh, do you have like pretty wood stairs with like all the ornate carving and maybe like a little bench by it or a built-in sitting area that's wood next to it? So he showed me that. The reminder is this as you're doing this work. Um, it is my feeling that you have sound sensory issues or are more sensitive to sound than you realize, and they're reminding you not to be aware of the way sound bounces because in theory it looks really nice to have it like that, but that it might actually end up driving you crazy being so loud. So as you're doing that, really keep that in mind. There's an older woman who was a resident of that home. She wants you to keep the stairs. And so it's interesting because I feel like, you're trying to modernize it, but maybe keep some of the same things. And I feel like she wants you to keep the stairs. No, they're no different. Okay. So be very aware of how sound bounces, because it's like in theory, having it big all open feels nice, but I feel like it's going to really drive you crazy. You bought the home from an older woman. Okay. I think she's passed now. She has such fond memories of the stairs and like sitting in that area and reading there and her children running up and down and just, I don't know. I also feel like there's little nooks to maybe tuck shoes or like, yeah, she has fond memories of the stairs. She's very sweet. She said, you do with it what you want, but I really love these stairs. I keep vacillating between the two because it hurt. Like my head hurts from trying to focus, and I've taken like way too much ibuprofen. And I don't know, it's probably hormonal, but you got a note from the family here saying that they had great memories in the home. Yeah, really and truly. I mean, it's your home. You do with it what you want. Remember that. Okay, Camel. I do feel like the floors need it. Like they really need to be redone. Like they're not salvageable is the feeling I got. She's very sweet. I'm saying this because I don't want you to feel like your house is haunted. You like can't do anything because she's going to create. It doesn't feel that way at all. And she imbued this home with a lot of love, and wants you to have that same experience. And she said she's happy for you. She's leaving you a button, and I don't know what that means, but it's like a feeling of you're going to find a button, and it feels like it's brown with like, I don't know what the style, tortoise shell style button. I feel like you'll find this, and it'll just be like a little button of luck. So I'm going to leave you with that. Is that okay? More than you asked for. Sorry. It's like funny. I feel like I've gone so long without really doing a lot of mediumship here. And now it's like today, it's like everybody just wants to jump in. Apparently my headache is not deterring me. Oh shit. Sorry. Okay. Oh, I left you on there. Whoops. Thank you, Julia. I always laugh because when I first started doing readings, I just want to fix this. When I first started doing readings, I was like, oh, I can't read if I'm tired. And now I actually feel like I read way better if I'm tired. Just because I'm so like, I can't block anything or second guess it. I'm like, whatever, here it is. And this headache, I was worried about it, but apparently I'm doing okay. So it's like right here. It's annoying. I wonder if I just like pinch here, if that'll help. I know this is weird, but it loosens these muscles up. All right. Drink it by the liter. Yeah, I'm just drinking water with some salt in it right now. Okay, Katrina, what's your question? Oh, no, not you, Katrina. Sorry, dear. I just did you. See? Fern, what's your question? If you're here. Fern or Amanda? Warm is easier to drink, but I was coming down here to do readings and I didn't have a lot of time, so I just filled it from my fridge. Okay. I was wondering if my great granny Violet has any advice or anything she'd like to say to me. Okay. This is the day of mediumship, apparently. Okay. I keep feeling like she's pretty tiny. Like she feels very slight, very small. She's making me feel like a sprite or a fairy or and I feel very, very tight here in my shoulders. And my jaw. So do you know, did she complain about her jaw hurting a lot or? Was she like, there's something with her shoulders where I feel like they're either hunched or they just are really sore a lot. So it's interesting because I feel like towards the end of her life, she was very thin. So I was kind of asking what's going on. She was like, I just didn't particularly care about eating that much. Um, hmm. I feel like when she ate, it was really just for sustenance, not for because I just love food. There's maybe coconut cake she really liked. There's something with shredded coconut, like a dessert. Or is that German chocolate cake that's got shredded coconut? She liked that, but she wasn't like a fuss about food. She could eat. She was the feeling of I could eat the same thing over and over and over again. Oh, truffles. She was always hunched over. Yeah, this is just really tight. She was quite skinny towards the end. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. I literally felt like I was so thin. There was like nothing here, but like I could feel this and I was aware of my legs, but there was like nothing in the middle. It's funny because so her energy before seeing like this little tiny, like really like whatever. But I feel like she also would just like say stuff that was sort of like you wouldn't think that would come out of her mouth looking at her. And I heard she said, "I'm happier than a pig in shit." um, she said, "I really gave people a run for their money." I feel like she's really smart. Um, and she said like with the clothes and like being like it's again, it feels like just dressed for practicality, dressed for comfort, like what felt good and not to impress. And I feel like almost wore clothes like a uniform. Like she didn't want to have to think about clothes a lot, but I feel like she was very, very smart. And so it just didn't, she'd rather to take her time reading or discussing philosophical things. Like she doesn't feel like, it doesn't mean she's not funny. I just feel like the other stuff didn't matter as much to her. Do you know if she liked reading Emily Dickinson? And is there an Emily in the family? Because I also heard Emily Donaldson. So is somebody an Emily? Maybe her sister? The name Emily does ring a bell, but her last name wasn't Donaldson. So maybe it's just a way to get to me to say the name Emily. Like I heard Emily Dickinson, so I feel like she liked to read, but I also feel like then there was like the Emily, so it's a family name as well. Maybe. I mean, yeah, it could be Millie, I guess. Yeah, Emily, Millie. Would Millie be her sister? Because I feel like she's with Millie, so it feels like Millie has already crossed. Okay. So I just heard John Edward, that psychic medium, his voice in my head. Did you watch Crossing Over or one of his shows with her? Her sister though, because her last name is it. Don't get so stuck on the Donaldson part because I'd be fine of just that being a way for her to get me to say this is a family member. This is somebody in the family versus just a random Emily. Like it's somebody in the family. It's not a somebody outside the family. Did she think about becoming a nun? Because I saw her and like I don't know if she's referring to her like because I saw her in a habit, so I don't know if I don't feel like she was like a devout Catholic. Maybe it was, or was there? These might be some things that come up if you talk to your mom or talk to some other people in the family. Um, but she's showing me a sister, so like someone with a habit. not as in like a biological sister. So I keep asking, like, well, what would a message be for her? Like, first of all, I feel like she enjoys, this is kind of like a thing, like they enjoy watching us because it's like a continuation of their story. It's like season 2, right? Their life was season 1 and your season 2 is the continuation or the sequel, right? To the movie. That wouldn't surprise me if she wanted to become a nun. I think she was religious, but not too sure. Yeah. It was, there's this feeling of, shoot, I just lost my, hang on, give me just a second. Oh, she said, I'm like, what did you want me to tell? She said, don't be afraid to tell people to kick rocks. So it is my feeling for you that you have a really hard time. You're very much a people pleaser. You're very much, you'll do something even if you're the one suffering for it, because you feel like somehow it's your obligation. You owe people that, or I don't know, you put yourself out there more than you should. And she sort of, she wants you to know that, like, tell people to fuck off. It's okay. Kick rocks. I'm sorry. I think maybe YouTube is monitoring things more. I don't know. I heard from some people, but also I have less watchers, so. I'm surprised she wanted me to, oh, okay. You're very welcome. Okay. I'm going to move on. You can relate to that, definitely. Okay. So she's like sort of like watching and going, it's okay to just say kick rocks. All right. Amanda, what is your question? I've got Amanda, Regine, Gabriel, or Gabriella. I think I spelled it wrong. I'm sorry. Like, I'm having such a hard time. Then Larry and Camel. And then if anybody's here and you're thinking you want a reading, the list is closed. My head can't handle anymore. Sorry. Hi, Tropical Empress. So these are paid readings. They're $12 a reading, but the list is closed now. My head hurts. So I don't want to, so I'm going to remove this. And I'm just going to pin list closed for today. But after we do these, we'll do some general readings on like what's going on in the world. I'll answer a few questions. So they're $12, but if you come back, they're $12 a question. And then I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Sorry about that. Normally I'd be like, yeah, jump in, but we're at an hour and 44 and my head hurts and already doing lots of mediumship. So, okay. Amanda, do you have a question? If not, let's go with Regine. Gabby. Oh, you're Amanda. Okay. Sorry. I didn't realize. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. So you want me to reach with your mom too? Okay. Okay. Hold on. Let me do this. Oh, I don't have any. Oh, well. Okay. Give me a second. Let me just do a quick little. Can I take did somebody not have a mediumship question? Let me just do one that's not mediumship for a minute so I can get out of some of that energy and then I'll come back into your mom's, if that's okay. I just need a little bit of a break. And then from that, and then because it's a little bit, it ends up pulling me a lot more. So who has non-mediumship questions? Thank you, Larry and Camel. Okay. I'll answer your two and then we'll go back. Yours is not. Okay, great. So let me just do a couple that are non-mediumship and then I'll do yours, Amanda. I feel like I'm not making the right choices when it comes to my intuition and pursuing the wrong things. Am I showing gratitude in the right places? Is the decorating job client a good fit? Okay. I feel like more with you're not really leaning into your intuition enough. You're actually leaning into the fear. So because I keep feeling like a generalized anxiety behind it. The client is a good fit. It's just self-doubt that's creeping in. And so it feels more like it's really important for you to just go into like the manifesting bit of it where you really just decide and declare it kind of thing of like, I even feel like that where you're like, is it a good fit? I feel it's more out of like, you feel like you're not competent enough, or it's that like imposter syndrome kind of thing. And I just feel like you're like, of course this is going to work out. Of course they're going to be fine. Of course they're going to love what I do. People always love what I do. People always love my work. And I feel like it's really important for you to just start declaring that. And just saying it to yourself. So there was something that came up. So some of the politics stuff, right? I get a little like nervous. And the other day, I think it was just yesterday, I was like, there was something that made me nervous. I don't even remember what it was at this point. And my guides were like, no, like you can jump into that space, or you can be like, no, this is like, cause you know how to like manifest this and make sure that it all, because you can create whatever you're creating. It's your time to just decide, no, this is how it's working. So start declaring like, I'm a badass, like I'm doing great. This is all working out for me. And if it's still like the little bump, right? You can just be like, you can decide this is a part of the bridge of incidents. This is birds before land. This is all working out. It's fine. That's what they're showing me is going on with you. It's not that like you're doing something wrong with your intuition. It's really then just deciding like you're leading into the fear of it rather than like, and saying like, oh, that anxiety is my intuition. And it's like, no, that's not your intuition. That's your subconscious. That's like trying to keep you safe, right? By basically not allowing you the growth. The reason why you're getting that anxiety is because you're moving into a space of growth. And so it's like cognitive dissonance where it's like, no, 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 no. Even if that wasn't that good for you, it's what we know. And we like the program. We like the plan. Think of it as like, when I worked as a nurse, when I first came into nursing, I graduated in 2001. I was working even when I worked as a student, I was a student nurse intern before that. And like the only computer charting we did for that was for PRN medications. Everything else was paper charting. Then when I moved and I graduated at the hospital in Austin, it was like they were just starting to do computer charting. And the older nurses who would have been boomers, right? They would have been like the 40 and 50-year-olds at the time. And I was like 20. So these are nurses that would be like 80 now, 70s. They were panicking about using computers, and like what we were charting was not even, most of it was still heavy paper charting. And it was like, oh my God, I just can't like, and I was kind of like, well, you just got to adapt. But like they were like cognitive dissonance where it was like, even though it was like not nearly as efficient, they wanted to stay with that because it's what they always knew. So it's just your cognitive dissonance. So remember that your intuition is like, it's out of nowhere. It's quick. It's not a nag. That's why half the time when I'm like, wait, where was I at? Because I have to like go back in and be like, hello, please remind me what you wanted me to share with them, because it's that quick. It's here and gone. It's calm. Even if it's bad news, it's calm. Like when I was in college and we were driving home, my friend was driving and on Highway 94, I think it was 94. And there was like the road was clear except for there was a patch of ice underneath a bridge, and I heard well before we got there, you're going to hit that patch of ice and spin out. So I was like, okay. I wasn't panicked. I didn't say anything to her. I was like, all right, cool. Like, it's very calm. And we, in fact, did. And the whole time it was like very slow motion. And part of that's probably my ADHD, like where adrenaline hits and like the whole world slows down. But like, I remember looking, I was like, whatever you do, don't overspin. And she's like, oh my God. And I was like, whatever you do, don't break. Like, it was just like everything that could, like, every day I was like, whatever you do. Like, it was very calm. She was like doing all the opposite. But like the thing was, is like I got it ahead of time and I was not panicked. So it's like your intuition, despite what you said, it's like it's very calm. It's not the anxiety ridden naggy baggy thing. So they're sort of saying like what you're listening to is not your intuition. You're listening to that subconscious that's like, just stay here because this is easier. The guides gave you words, begin, house, large, quiet. They also gave me puzzle, pizza, but I figured that word out, it was like a validation. Okay, so here's what I would say. When they're giving you things like that, ask them, please validate that for me in a way that I cannot question it, in a way that is so obvious there's no way I could get anything different from it. And the fear and anxiety you're having is just cognitive dissonance and not trusting yourself to do a good job. And therefore, we can be our own deciders. But I will always, if I'm not sure about something, I'll be like, can you just like make sure that happens again? So like, you weren't here in the beginning of this, but I was talking about how I heard something about Kash Patel and how he told the FBI people to like not respond to Elon Musk. And I was reading the comments because I'm always looking for like comments about like what, like why is that one so much? Whatever, I must have rubbed it off. Thank you, Misty. You're very welcome. So I was talking about Kash Patel and like how he said not to do that. So then I was looking in the comments and they're like, it's a trick. And so of course that's going to automatically be like, is it a trick? So instead of like sitting there going, oh my God, it probably is a trick and like feeding into that energy, I was like, all right, like, let me just find somebody that like show me something that like gives me more information on what I need to know about this situation. And so then I sat down after I did a whole bunch of stuff. I sat down and I was looking, and the second video that popped up was this attorney who I've seen before, but I didn't follow him. And he was like, oh, I'm a labor attorney and I do this stuff all the time. And let's talk about Kash Patel. And let's talk about, like everybody has a limit. So it's like, he's like saying like, this isn't trickery. This is like, even in cults, everybody has a limit of like, I'm not willing to go that far. And it might be really far that somebody's willing to go. He's like, that's his limit because he's an attorney and he knows that he can, be sued for responsibility if he doesn't tell these guys, like, don't respond. So he's like, that's his limit, even if he's a total conspiracy theorist. And when you're like, why would a lawyer, like, whatever? I know an attorney and she is deep into Trump. She's a nice woman, but she's deep into Trump. Is YouTube or TikTok the place to tell your personal story? I think you're going to get your feet wet in YouTube. I have to be honest, I've gotten this for a while. I don't feel like there's going to be in like May or June a big jump, like a mass exodus from TikTok to another app, which I think is currently in the beta testing right now. It will be similar, but I think people are going to leave because they're not liking the way the algorithm is and the way, like, there's a lot of stuff going on where I'm seeing that like it's just being run a little bit differently, at least in the American side. I don't know about other countries. So I haven't posted on there. I haven't posted anything really. I'm sorry, I haven't. I get in these modes where my mouth doesn't want to move. And like, because I commit to being here every Sunday, this is not a big deal. It's like, it's part of but like my mouth doesn't want to move sometimes. My mind is constantly thinking, but my mouth is just like, oh, we are good being silent. So I feel like you'll get your feet wet here on YouTube, but you'll really grow there. I also think that you would be more comfortable kind of telling your story or getting your feet wet on something like Blue Sky, similar to Twitter, similar to Instagram Threads, but it's where you can tell a little bit at a time. You get the mouth thing too. Yeah. It's just like where I'm like, there's so many thoughts I have. And then I'm like, nope, it's not time to talk. And I feel like it's been that way. And I know there's stuff that I should be sharing. And I just, at the same time, I'm like, it's not time to talk. I don't know. I like Blue Sky. I also get in these really bad habits where algorithms work for you if you're like interacting with stuff that's like the content you're putting out. And my problem is like I heavily look at political stuff and I'm not putting out political content. So sometimes my stuff is just slow. And I also don't do a lot of the like gotcha stuff. Like when people make the what do they call them, hooks, like breaking news, like I don't, or like everything is like, I just feel like everybody's nervous system is so shot right now. Like, I don't care if I get low views because I'm not putting out gotcha stuff. So, it is what it is. I'd rather not have everybody on edge all the time. All right. Camel wanted to know, what do you see for the Sweden's economy? I see a dip coming, but I see a dip kind of for everybody, to be honest with you. So I don't think it's way out of alignment with, and some of this is like, again, as much as Trump wants to say he's going to do blah, 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 all this stuff, legally he can't get away with everything he wants to get away with. I just keep hearing like it's going to backfire for them, but I do feel like there's going to be a dip. Like a stagnation, but it's interesting because it's like self-induced. And I just keep hearing everything's going to be at a standstill for a little while, but it's not because we're all going to lockdown or whatever, but it's like everybody going, have you ever seen those movies where it's like, they're really comical and at the end it's like, everybody's got a gun and they're all looking at each other and, blah, 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 and like, it's chaos. And then like, everybody's just frozen and so it's like, and like, everybody's got their guns drawn at each other kind of thing. And it's like, it feels like that. Not that I'm saying there's going to be a war, but it's just that energy of like everybody watching and waiting to see what the other person's going to do. And everybody's ready, but nobody's like, that's what I feel is going to happen. Like, so it's like this economic static feeling of no growth. I heard missed opportunity, but I don't know what that means. Maybe kind of wonky for about 16 months. I genuinely feel so. Germany's elections today, even though Germany's like not this like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong on the saying like this huge economic powerhouse, whatever, but it was very telling to see about kind of the state of the world. 2026 is going to do that again. And I also feel like they're going to be really looking at like even this year in New Jersey when we have the governor's race to see like again where it's like the political barometer, if you will. Germany was telling, and in a good way, it's like, okay, they didn't win, even with Elon Musk putting his full back into it, and even with Vance going over there, which like, when do our people ever go to any other country and speak political this stuff, like trying to get people to vote a certain way? Like never. I'm almost positive that's not what happens. We do our political bidding through the CIA. Sorry for laughing about that, but like really, it's not usually like that. It's not so overt. Even with that, they didn't get enough votes. They didn't win. So, and they won't have much power at all because nobody wants to form an alliance with them in order to like work together politically speaking. So I feel like that settles, like to me it feels like that's going to help with this like if it had gone another way, then like economically it would have been a lot longer downturn, and this feels like it'll be, but it's more of a like a stagnation than a total blip. So again, for like 18 months, and then I feel like it starts to get a little bit stronger, especially at our midterms, because I feel like we will do okay midterms and helping flip some of the seats to make it less of a, Republicans in power kind of thing. Have everything. Here, wait, let me see. Hi, KK. In the UK, they have a cutoff all local elections, so our current government can't get outnumbered in the big election when it comes. Meaning what? Meaning like I don't know much. I really don't know much about other governments. Like I don't follow world politics. I, barely followed ours for a really long time and knew who people were. Even my husband, he's like on Twitter all the time. He's like, this person. I was like, I don't know who that is. Because when I read stuff about people or whatever, I understand I'm reading a lot more than just the words on the page. So you think it's because they are, wait, who are what? Who are what? Sorry. Scared of Trump. Oh, gotcha. And outnumbered by, oh, you're worried about being outnumbered by far right type people, like right wing type people. I mean, Trump is just kind of like he likes to yell and scream about how powerful he is, but really like it's, if you've been in a really awful narcissistic relationship before, that is all this is. And there is a lot of like, you're so terrible. These are like never taking responsibility. And there's a lot of fear tactics that happen. And I think the one benefit from having known narcissists and been in relationships with ones, it's once you start to heal from it and like go and like see things for what they are, you're like, oh yeah, that's bullshit. Like you don't react. I keep feeling like 2026 is going to be the big turnaround. So 2027 is going to be better. And I think so like our people get moved into office like after the year changes. So, all right. Now I'll do yours, Amanda, and then I'll do Regine. And that'll be a nice little. Okay, Amanda, you want it was Peggy? Was that the name? Hang on, let me go back and see if I can find it. And I don't mean to be like, I don't know anything about any other country. It's just like you have to explain it to me more because I don't really, I don't know enough to speak on it other than just through energy. And that's not always like, it's always good to be informed, but there's only so much energy I have, spoons to donate to that or whatever you want to call it. Any advice on or messages for my mom, Peggy, please? Okay, got it. All right. I keep feeling like Peggy would have been sing-songy, because I keep hearing a voice and like doing like kind of a sing-songy voice, like um, she liked to sing, or did she do it like just what I'm the way I'm hearing things? I asked her, I was like, "Well, Peggy, do you want to show up?" And because I keep feeling her, like I feel like she's behind me. I don't feel like I can. It's like I know she's there energetically. I feel like she's behind me. She said, "Not particularly. She liked to remain behind the scenes more." So she liked to make sure everything like worked out, and but she didn't want to be the center of attention. Like she wanted to make sure the party was set up beautifully or whatever, and just running, doing stuff like in the kitchen or whatever during. She didn't want to be the center of attention. But she enjoyed that very much. I feel like a lot of joy as she's doing that. Oh, she would sing to you. Does it make sense for her to be more on the background? That's okay, Camel. We'll figure it out. Does it make more sense for her to be in the background? Like prefer the background more? Um oh, there's a song, I can't think of who sings it. I think it's from the 90s or early 2000s. It goes, "We've come a long, long way together. I'd like to praise you." So I feel like in life there was a lot of growth. Um, you went through a lot together, and she's just saying she just wants to praise you and honor you and thank you, or praise you like I should. Maybe she didn't praise you enough in life. She really liked music because I'm like, okay, can we go? And she's like, oh yeah, sorry, because she keeps singing the song over and over. Were you an only child, or there's something where she's saying we were two peas in a pod? Oh, I'm so sorry. She went all out to make others feel special while in the background. Yeah. It's two peas in a pod. So maybe that's what it is. You started so young at 14 and cared for her till she was 19. Because she's saying we were two peas in a pod. Was it just you and her? So no siblings, no dad? Yeah, it's Fat Boy Slim. That's what it is. You were the baby girl you desperately want. Oh, okay. So then that would make sense then. Just there's something where it's like just you. Okay. I feel very spinny and lightheaded and dizziness. Did she complain about a lot of dizziness or with whatever was wrong with her? Did she have issues with her colon? Oh, because she's showing me in a goofy way. I feel like she had a very cheeky sense of humor. I go, what else do you want her to know about? She's like, nothing. Death is boring. Sickness is boring. I'm like, okay. And not that she's like poo-pooing you, but it's just funny. Like she'd rather talk about happy stuff. So I feel like there is a big avoidance for her, even in life. She would have avoided, you know, she would have really veered towards trying to have all the happiness and avoid all the bad stuff. She said, that's why I got sick. I was avoiding a lot. I was avoiding taking care of myself. She said from panic attacks from emphysema. Hmm. Maybe that's why she won't tell me. She's like, I don't like who wants to talk about that. She keeps talking about how happy she is. So I want to say this, like I want to make sure that you understand that it's not happy that she wasn't with you, especially when you lost her so long ago and you were so young and you you know probably lost a good sense of like just safety and there was a lot of trauma around that crowd passing. So when I say this, I want you to not think that when she's saying she's happy without you. But I feel like um in her life before kids or whatever, it's just it was very hard. And so there is like she is happy. She's also showing me around a grandson. Do you have a son? I feel like the boy is connected to you though. You don't. Did you have a miscarriage? She's showing me a little boy and I feel like it's connected to you. So then I just asked her, I was like, wait, I'm close to my baby brother who has his son. It that could be it. So I'm not like totally leaning against it, but I also feel like he sees her and um does he have her coloring or her eyes or there's something similar? Hang on. No, not that I'm aware of. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to leave that part with you about the little boy because it might make sense later. I don't understand this thing because I'm not really sure if it's like literally. I don't think it is, but she said it's okay for you to run. So I don't know if it means like to leave a situation or I don't know. She just said it's okay for you to run. And then I have got to cut this one and go to the next couple questions. I've been on for a while, and I actually have to go pick up more cookies for my other daughter's troop from another parent who picked up their cookies today for that troop. You want to leave him? Okay, that makes sense. So she's giving you permission to not to do it and not feel guilty. Okay. May I leave you with that? I don't mean to end it so abruptly. Regine, what is your question? I'm sorry, Amanda. I don't mean to be so like, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I don't mean to run like push you off the edge right after hearing that. But just know that like it's okay if you need to. Birthday. You're welcome. Birthday is coming up Saturday. So happy. What does March look like for me? Okay. Let me just hang on. I just need to message this lady and tell her I'll be about 15 minutes later because she's expecting me in 20 minutes. I'm not sure I'll be able to make it over there in 20. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Just keep hearing, keep moving forward and doing your business stuff as if none of the craziness is happening. because there are going to be many things in March that are going to worry you. And they're saying just keep going, as if all of that, just stay in your bubble and do that. And also stop second guessing yourself. So when I look at March for you, it literally feels like everything out here around you sounds is like very busy or whatever, but I feel like I'm in like this little bubble. So it's like even though everything seems chaotic around, I'm in like a little bubble of safety and I'm okay. Um, so they're showing me to remind yourself that like it's okay to be in that bubble. Like it's okay to and allow yourself to stay there. Like it's not you ignoring the world or anything like that. I think I rubbed off all the little. And happy birthday, by the way. Sorry, sometimes I read stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I literally feel like it's gonna. There's almost gonna be maybe there's like a little bit of guilt on your part of like it's not survivor's guilt, but like that things seem to be going so smoothly for you, and everything else seems so chaotic, and everybody's like, oh, like kind of in a tizzy, and they're sort of saying like that's okay, like it's okay to stay in that bubble. It's okay for you to be in that bubble. Okay. All right, Miss Gabriella. Gabby. Okay. So first, when I feel into your energy, I feel lighter and happier today than I have. I there's a twinge of pain here. Um, I just feel like more like needing to do more stretching or like do like a trigger point release kind of thing, like with a tennis ball and lean into it will help with that. Try not to because it's this feeling of like when I'm saying that it's like, oh God, not another thing. Your body is healing, everything is getting better. So it's like I'm not laughing at you, but it's like I've been there where I'm literally told by my guides, we're like, recognize the improvement. One thing does not always mean everything is cascading into this terrible place. So try and allow yourself to sit in that happy space instead of like going, oh, like catastrophizing the one thing to the other. Um, are you in Aries rising? I did hear changes coming soon. Things are getting much better. Um, definitely been feeling happier, but yes, lots of neck pain. Okay. Um, just they're like literally just saying just put one foot in front of the other, just put one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. I think when we get general readings and it's not like super like this is what it is, because it really does need to be a little bit more general for you. That's why they're giving me the neck pain and the other feeling pain of feeling into your energy and giving you that to validate it first, rather than just like just put one foot in front of the other. It's like that's like anybody could give you that message. So I want to clarify that for anybody if you're watching and you're like, oh, um, like really everything is mindset for you at this point, and just deciding to like take the little wins instead of like catastrophizing into the bad space, but like take the little wins wherever you can. You know, it's like, yeah, you self pain, like, yeah, I still have stuff I'm dealing with that's like post COVID, like, yeah, my nose isn't better, but this is better, like this thing is better, or that thing is better, or like, yeah, I mean, I gained like 20 or 30 pounds in a very short period of time because of COVID, because it sent me like way over the edge with a histamine and everything else. It's like, no, I'm not where I was before all of that happened, but I have made some improvements and all of that stuff. So probably was 20 pounds, but it feels like 30. March is going to be good. We are going to Disneyland. March is going to be good for sure. I heard Disneyland will be quiet. It'll be a quiet, nice escape. March is a good time to go to. July is not so good. Your birthday is March 29th. I feel like it's going to be so good. It will be for sure. I feel like you're going to be like, it's like literally little by little by little. It's like they're one foot in front of the other. Did I ask if I said are you an Aries rising? Are you an Aries rising? If it's a quick personal question, I will do it, but I really have to go because I've got to go pick up all these cookies. Camel, that was for you. I actually feel like, here's the thing, like March is going to be good. I actually feel like April's going to be much better for you. Like it's like, I just feel energetically better movement. Like the energy moves, it feels less stagnant. So March feels a little bit stagnant still, not terrible, but I think they're saying like, as you go through March, just like push through. I do feel like Disney will be good for you. It feels easy, open, airy. And then I just feel like April feels much better. Oh, you're an Aries. Okay. So an Aries sun or Aries rising? And I ask that because so when Saturn and Neptune start entering into Aries, they conjoin in Aries. I think the first start of it's like it actually goes direct and stays direct is in February of 2026. But it starts and then goes back. It's like does this little dance before then. It'll near exact in July of 2025. So it feels like when that starts to happen, you're going to start seeing more of the physical changes. Okay. All right, Camel, last question. And then I think I'm not going to do the big general unless there's like one general that I can do, but just because I've got to get this stuff. Oh, I was talking to sorry, Gabby. Oh, you said your birthday is in March? I think you're an Aries sun. Check your rising sign because it'll just depend on what house it is. But it's this feeling of like feeling better once that starts to happen, like letting go of all the old stuff. Okay, Camel. Do you have a really dry throat or a sore throat or something? Okay. So I'm looking at like between the next week and next month when you're saying near future and throat. No, there's something with like, I don't know why they're making me feel that. So it might be something that's coming in. Maybe you're going to get a little sore throat or something, but like week, near future. I feel like anxiety is like your anxiety is really bad. It's causing a lot of stomach stuff, like where I feel like I'm going to throw up. My anxiety is so bad. So they're asking you to do a lot of breath work and a lot of intentionality, and like it's important for you. And I don't usually say this to people. Like usually I'm like, pay attention. Da, da, da. I feel like it would behoove you to like turn the news off a little bit, turn the world off a little bit, and find your own little bliss hole where you just relax and write or watch a movie, but just turn off social media, turn off the news, and stop focusing in on so much of the energy around you, because I do feel like you're really sensitive to the energy, and it is very chaotic right now. And there is something to be said for self-preservation and being a little bit selfish. It's like, people are like, pay attention, do all this stuff. You got to do all this stuff. It's like, but if I am so dysregulated, I can't do anything. I can't, like, you're of no use to anybody anyway. So they're sort of saying, like, really work on just try and like stop worrying about everything in the world right now. Like, it's okay to peek in and check and see what's going on, but to the point that you are right now and worrying so much, it's making you physically ill. And they're asking you to like just take care of yourself, which means sometimes like putting your head in the sand a little bit and giving yourself a break and finding like a regulation in your nervous system and doing breath work and being intentional about that, or just finding some joy to laugh a little bit in a movie or anything. I know you don't want to live there. I know. I know. If this helps you anyway, so one of my good friends from high school, I emailed him after I had a client who is in finance for one of the big companies. And I emailed him after I talked to her, and not just because it made me think of him. He's in finance as well. And I was kind of like, hey, what are your feelings from the market and everything else? And he like had such a calm energy about it, because the whole world is like, oh my God. Like anytime anybody's like, oh my God, the world's falling apart, I'm like, let's take a beat on this. Because even in religion, when people try to scare you, that it's really taught me in the world too, is like, who has something to win from this? Who doesn't? Who has something to gain from this? What do they have to gain from me being freaked out and scared? And then also, like, when you start to read some of the stuff people are talking about, like, well, I mean, yeah, that's sort of true, but it's not totally true. Like, there's something called the SAVE Act, and it's like, it has to do with voting rights, and that your name has to match your birth certificate name. Like, so your name, your current identification name has to match your birth certificate name. And if it doesn't, then you can't vote. Well, that affects primarily, this is for the United States, women who are married, because it's common to take your husband's last name. So my last name does not match my birth certificate name. There's ways around it, right? So I can have make sure I have my marriage license, my driver's license, or my passport, like all of this kind of stuff to show, because the passport checks, they check all of that, and it shows where you were born, et cetera, et cetera. So like, but there's barriers to a lot of people getting passports and having copies of their birth certificate and their marriage certificate, because you have to pay for all of these things. And so many people are working 2 and 3 jobs here, are living paycheck to paycheck. There is a barrier to accessing all of those things, because they may not have the extra funds to pay for copies of their birth certificate, and pay for copies of their marriage license, and pay for and go get and pay for their passport, and take the time off work to do all those things. So it really takes people's abilities away to vote. But you can do it, but it makes it harder. So I don't know that legislation will go through, but it's like, it's not as like they're trying to just take my vote away. Like there are things around it, but it makes it harder, right? So it's this idea of like, when you hear things about mass shorting and all of that stuff, it's like, yes, some people will, but markets come up and down and up and down. So it's sort of like, he was like, I'm not so worried about it. And he's like, yeah, there's markers and stuff. He's like, but I'm not worried about it right now. He very, like, when I was like, oh, I was like, I'm reading your energy, it feels very calm. Like, I feel like he feels very confident about it when I was talking to him about it. And he's like geeks out on talking about that stuff. Like he was like going off and he's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, it's like, I don't care. So just try and keep that in mind when you hear stuff like that. Try to find your space and relax. I will always be the person to say, like, find your center, because you can't make any sound decisions when you're like in this state of dysregulation. So that's what they're sort of showing me, is it's really important for you right now to work on that and kind of like relax a little. Okay. All right. Is there one quick general question? Cause we've been on 2.5 hours now and I've got to run. The mediumship ones always take a lot longer, and your families all wanted to jump in today, apparently. So will the Pope make it? I'm gonna look at his picture because so I feel like he will, but I also feel like it doesn't have much longer. Now, I know a lot of people are worried about like all of these. This is going to be the last Pope. This is going to be the last thing. It's like, remember, I want you to think about two times in your life, because most of you are old enough for this. Like the year 2000, everybody was like, oh my God, everything's going to go down because it's not going to roll over on the computers and everything. I just remember all this chaos. It's like everything was fine. Everything was fine. And 2012, all the spiritual people were like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, blah, blah. It was fine. Yes, the Mayan calendar ended there, but like time went on. So like, I do feel like, I feel like he's going to come through whatever he's in right now, but I don't feel like he has a lot of life left for him. Is he having heart stuff? I also feel something here with him. Hang on. Let me see what it says. Oh, that makes sense. Maybe he's got pneumonia up here. So I feel like honestly, I don't feel like he has much time. So it's like, I feel like he pulls through a little bit and then he'll have another dive. I don't think he's the last Pope. Sorry, I just don't. And even like, when they talk about like, what is it, Armageddon or whatever the other thing is, what's the other word for it? It's not Armageddon. It's whatever the Revelation-y thing is. I think it's just more of people becoming aware and not as easily controlled. Yes, the apocalypse. I just feel like that's more about everybody, like more of an awakening than it is like. And awakening doesn't have to be spiritual either. It can just be waking up to like the grift that's happened, right? The Department of Education will not be removed. It won't be removed. He's going to mess up some stuff, but it won't be removed. What he isn't aware of, and what the very rich people aren't aware of, is the actual backbone of the United States economy that education is. And I want you to think about this, because they're not thinking about it, that just recently in 2020, all the schools shut down. People had a very hard time working when they were still having to watch their kids and do all of that stuff. People wanted to get their kids back so they could go back to work and do all the other things, because it's essentially, it's childcare. And a lot of people who make a lot of money and can hire out easily aren't fully aware of that. There's very much an out of touch. And also, they're not going to be able to get their 2025 project through. Does it mean that it's not going to be a roller coaster or some bad things aren't going to happen? Yes. But more people are shouting and going to town halls and calling out their Congress people and their representatives more than they have, and it's so apparent and so evident at all the gaslighting that's going on. And in the past, I feel like everybody were like, okay, yeah, you're right, and people are like, no, like because a lot of the representatives are like, but Trump and Elon and like gaslighting, and people are calling them out on it and holding them to it. So you just have to like every single thing that comes up, it's very easy to get wrapped up in it and panic. But I really believe at the end of it, it's like it will force people to come out and realize how powerful we are together. All right, I have to go. I will be back next week, but I've got to go pick up more Girl Scout cookies. All right, I will see y'all. Hi, Lexi. Thank you. And I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Hang in there. I will see you next Sunday.